Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. Welcome to this webinar, and thank you for waiting. We were just trying to fix some things, but now we are here with you. We are going to start in some, yeah, I think that in about some seconds. So it's a pleasure. I'm Gabriela. I'm a tax specialist. I'm going to be here with you, just helping you, just talking about taxes, talking about this new period that is just arriving now. So if you have some questions, just don't worry. At the end of this um, presentation, we are going to be talking about all the questions that you have. Okay. There's going to be one colleague that he's going to be like collecting all your questions. So if you have something at the end, we are going to be solving everything. And now we can just start with this. So let us just a moment. We are going to just start with this. Right, so we are going to be talking about tax residency in Spain, and the first thing that is going to be really important to talk is about the tax residency and when you are tax resident and when you are not tax resident, right? The thing that you need to understand is that the most important rule, well, there are different pre-rules, but the most important is the number of days that you are going to be in Spain, right? So if you are in Spain for more than 183 days, you are considered tax resident. But also there are other situations that if you have it, or if you are in those situations, you are going to be considered for Spain a tax resident. What are theirs? The first one is the number of days. So if you are in Spain 183 days, you are going to be considered a tax resident. But also, if you have your economy center in Spain, or if you have your family in Spain, you are going to be tax resident in Spain. And well, what happened if you are in Spain just 100 of days, and then in other country a number of days, in other country a number of days? What's going to be like taken account for consider or not tax resident? It's going to be taking account the number of your economy center and your what is your family. So if the number of days is not going to be one of the things that we are going to take in account for tax residency, we are going to take in account the economy center and the family. That's why it's really important to understand the 3-1. Some people think that, okay, if I'm in Spain and I don't have the number of days, I don't have to pay taxes. No. Sometimes, even if you are non-resident in Spain, you will have to pay taxes in Spain. So that's why we are going to be talking about this. And all the rules are important, but then we are going to other thing. And is what happened with the form 210. So if you are in Spain, but you don't have 6 months in Spain, you don't have 183 days in Spain, do I have to pay taxes? The answer could be that it's going to be yes. How we identify that you have or not to pay taxes if you don't have the number of days or even the economy center and even your family is not in Spain? Well, there are different ways. And the form that you are going to need to pay taxes is the model 210. So this type of model is just one of the ways that we present the income tax statement or the tax return in Spain. There are different models, but the end is the same concept: tax or taxes or the income tax or in Spain. The model 210 is just when you are considered non-resident. And when you are not considered tax resident, when you don't live in Spain, the number of days, or you don't have your economy center, or you don't have your family there. When or why or who is going to be declaring in Spain for that? Well, if you have a property, for example, in Spain, in that property you are receiving a rental income for that, okay? If you're not living there, but you are receiving that income, you will need to pay taxes in Spain for that income that you're receiving. But also, if you have that property, but you are not living there, and even you are not renting that property, you will have to pay taxes for as a non-resident for that property. It's not going to be an like a high amount of taxes. It's going to be just a small one, but you will have to present the taxes because the property is there. Also, if you have capital gains, if you have a property in Spain and you sold the property, you will have to pay taxes. Or even if you have other type of investments in Spain and you receive capital gains, you will have to pay taxes there. And other type of things that people maybe think that I don't have to pay taxes if I'm receiving that is if I'm working. If I arrive to Spain in September, October, November, or if I just have just a small time in Spain, but I was working there. Do I have to pay taxes? The answer is yes. You have to pay taxes there. You just have to pay taxes by the time that you are working. If you become a self-employed, for example, and you become a self-employed in October or in October from now, or if you were autonomous just 3 months of the year and then you just register. Do you have to pay taxes? Yes, you have to pay taxes. If you are working for a company as an employee, you have to pay taxes for the time that you were working, by the income that you were working. Some people think that if you are working, you don't have to pay taxes because normally in the on the payroll there's a withholding that they are taking, but even sometimes maybe could be that they take more withholdings, and it's better if you present the income tax statement because they are gonna return to you money. It not happen all times, but it's something that is gonna happen, and it's important if you just try and if you just maybe just search your fiscal data and you review if you have enough the taxes or not, or if your amount was good or not for taxes, right? So if you have in all of those situations, you will have to be attentive and maybe you have to pay taxes. If you have that situation, just you can just schedule a meeting with us. You can send us an email. You can just contact us, one of your gesture or something, and he's gonna be helping you, and we are gonna be helping you in that situation. One of the things is the deadlines that you are gonna be in Spain. So there are different dates that you need to take in account for the model 210. The first deadline, and we are close to that, is the in this month in January. So we have from the 1st of January on the 20th of January to present the taxes. If you have been receiving rental income, even if you receive capital gains, you have to present it that. It's different. For example, if you have a property and you're not renting, it's like your vacation property, or you have a job because in the future you are planning just living in Spain. You have more time to present it, but I really advise in all the situation just take in account and present at the same time in January. Present even if you have just a property or if you have just if you have the property, if you are receiving rental income or something similar to that. So in those, just take in account and present it. Well, other thing that maybe is important is to identify how much you're going to be paying for taxes under this model. The thing is that, okay, if you are non-resident, it's going to be really important where you are living now. It doesn't matter where you are from. The thing that is really important is where you are living. So if you have to present taxes in Spain as a non-resident and you are living in any country of the European Union, you're going to be paying 19%. But if you are living in a country out of the European Union, you're going to be paying 24% for taxes. This is the percentage that you're gonna like need to identify in most of the case. There are a specific type of situations that maybe you're gonna pay less taxes, but every situation of that is really specific. It's really for just some group of people, and we need just to review that, verify that is gonna be your specific type of tax, and just present it in that case. Other type of model that even you need to take in account when you are living in Spain and when you become tax resident. One thing is when you are not tax resident, but then you just start living in Spain 183 days. You're going to have some obligations and something really important. If you start living in Spain, for example, this year, and you have 6 months, we are in July. Do you have to pay taxes now that we are in July? No. You have to wait until the following year, let's say 2027, and we have some times for paying taxes for this year. It means that If you live in Spain all the last year, 2025, and you have property out of Spain, maybe maybe you have to present the model 720. What is this model? Do you have to pay taxes on it or not? No. You don't have to pay taxes on the model 720. It's just something that you need to inform to the tax agency that you have some properties in Spain. But sorry, me, out of Spain. So if you have any property or any asset, bank accounts, house, things that you can consider as a property or an asset out of Spain, maybe you have to present this form. So when you're gonna present it, you're gonna fill this form. I'm gonna just try to change this. When you're gonna present this, for example, if you have bank accounts, or for example, if you have investments, if you have properties out of Spain, sorry me, out of Spain bank accounts, out of Spain investments, out of Spain properties, and those properties have more than a value in more than 50,000. If you have more than 50,000, you are going to be considered in that case that you need to declare the model 720. This model, you present it in 1 month specific, and it's going to be the month of until March. So if you are considered tax resident in Spain and you have to present this model, maybe you need to do it until March. And something really important is that you present it just sometimes it's just once, and then the following years that you are living in Spain, maybe you don't have to present this model. How to identify that? Well, you just need to review if the asset that you declared the last year, that if that asset increased the value. For example, you present a saving account that you have, let's say in US, and you were saying that the bank account was for 63,000. In the last year, well, that bank account didn't increase too much. That was 2,000 of euros that was increased. Do you have to present it? No. But for example, if that bank account increased in 10,000, 20,000 of euros, yeah, you will need to again declare this model and update your information because your asset just increased the value. Well, and this is important. And now, something really important, if you are considered tax resident in Spain and you are going to prepare or declare the income tax statement, when to do it or how to do it. Well, there are two models that you are going to need to take in account if you are going to pay income tax in Spain as a tax resident. There is a model 151 and there is a model 100. When you need to, when or yeah, who is going to present this model? Well, the normal or the usual model that we are going to be using or presenting is the model 100. And it is just if you are a normal person, you living in Spain, working in Spain, or being a freelancer in Spain, or having a company in Spain, well, you will have to present the model 720. When you're going to present the model 151. For example, if you are under the tax regime of the Beckham law. If you are under Beckham law, you are not going to present taxes as a normal person. You are going to be under a different regime, so you have a different model to present. The deadline is the same. So you have until April to June of every year to present the tax. So it's really important to understand we have just 3 months to present taxes, just from April to June to present these taxes. It's not going to be that you may be presenting July. No, you need to do it between April to June. When you are going to present your taxes, and you need to identify if your income tax is going to be just a basic income or it's going to be an international income. Something that is important to know is that when you become a tax resident, all the income that you have is going to be taxed in Spain. I mean, your worldwide income is going to be taxed in Spain. So if you have investment, properties, income, any type of source of income out of Spain, it's going to be taxed in Spain. This is when you are under the normal regime and you are not under a different and special tax as the Beckham law. If you are a normal person living in Spain, working in Spain, you have to declare for everything. So in that situation, there's gonna be sorry me, there's gonna be really important that you didn't identify the when or if you have to pay taxes or not, because if you have the number of days in Spain, but you don't have one of the ways maybe or the requirements, you don't need to pay taxes in Spain. So for example, if you are working for a company in Spain, your income needs to be more than 22,000 of euros if you just to get the obligation to present taxes. If you are being freelancer, you have to do it even if your income is really low. For example, 1,000. If you are receiving dividends or capital gains or something like that, you have to pay taxes on that, on it. Even if it's more than 1,000, if you have bank interests, if those are more than 1,000, you have to declare. And those are like the most important and usual income that you're going to be receiving. Even it doesn't matter if you are living in Spain and the income was out of Spain. You need to declare it, even if it's a dividend, capital gain, if you have stocks or something that you do, that is really important to present and to know. On the international one, even is you need to know that I was talking about the model 720. But for example, if you have cryptocurrency, this other model that maybe you have to declare this, the model 720, 721, sorry. It's the same and it's really similar to the model 720, but is just for people that have cryptocurrency. And those are like the models that are going to be important. And if, for example, if you have the Beckham loan, you just need to declare the income that is being developed in Spain. If you are working in Spain, for example, for a client, you are being a remote employee and you have a certificate of coverage from, let's say, from UK. You can say, okay, but my job is not in Spain, so I don't have to declare taxes in Spain. No, you are in Spain, you are doing the activity and you are doing the job in Spain, so you are like the money is being developed in Spain, let's say like that. So you have the obligation to present taxes in this country, even if your job is in other country. If you are being freelancer, it's the same way. What happens, for example, if you are being freelancer but you keep in Spain, like let's say all the year out of Spain, but you are being registered as self-employed in Spain. You're gonna have the obligation even if you are not in Spain because you are registered. If you keep registered, you will have the obligation to present taxes, right? And those are like the similar things that maybe are going to be really important to understand when you are living in Spain, or even if you are planning just moving to Spain, that you are going to have the income tax, you are going to have the 720 model. You need to understand when you have to pay taxes and when you don't have to pay taxes. If, for example, if you are living in Spain, you are working in Spain, but I just earned, let's say, 12,000 in the year. Well, do I have to declare taxes? No. But if you earn, let's say, 14,000 or 13,000, but you are working for two employers in the year. In that case, even if your income is less than 22,000, you will have to declare that. And believe me, you have to declare it, because now tax agencies being really like they are taking all the rules and they are taking all the things just to making sure make sure that you are going to pay taxes, even if it's a low amount, or if you don't have to pay taxes but you have to declare the taxes. They are going to be attentive to you that you present it on time. And okay, that's like all the information that maybe is going to be important. So now I'm going to be really attentive if you have questions, and I'm going to be just answer you all the questions that you have. So we are going to be here. Okay, one of the question is what's the difference between the quarterly autonomous declaration and the annual? Okay, that's really an important like question that you're going to have. Well, when you are autonomous and you are paying the quarterly taxes, let's take the quarterly taxes as an advance. So every quarter you pay 20%, let's say in the income tax, right? So on the income that you receive in the quarter, you are going to pay 20%. That 20% is a base that you are saving for taxes. So at the end of the year, let's say that you were autonomous the last year and you were paying quarterly taxes on April, on July, and October, and now in January. Now we are in April and we are going to prepare the taxes. We are gonna say that your income was 100, just was 100. You have expenses and we have a net base. We just calculate the taxes that you're gonna pay. As you have been paying 20% every quarterly, that amount that you have been paying is gonna be against the amount that you have to pay. So it's the amount that you have to pay against the amount that you have paid in Spain with the taxes. There's gonna be a calculation, and you just pay the difference between one. Let's say that in the total quarterlies you pay 20,000, and your taxes says that you have to pay 22,000. So how much you're gonna pay? Just 2,000 because you have been paying 20,000. If you pay 20,000, but in the income tax statement say that you have to pay 24,000, you have to pay the difference that is just 4,000. That is just the explanation on that. Next question. Yeah, normally, yeah. In that case, the difference between the Model 720 and the Model 721 when you have cryptocurrency is that if you have a broker that is working, if it's that if the cryptocurrency is not in your power, you need to present the Model 721. But if it's in your power, you need to present the Model 720. That is like how you can just make the difference between both. Okay. Normally, well, in a legal way, I'll have to say that the number of days start from the moment that you travel and you are in Spain. But in the reality, in the fiscal like timeline, from the moment that you have the legal residency in Spain, is gonna start account the number of days. So if you travel as a tourist, let's say that you are European and you get the green card, the green NIE or the CUE as we call it, from the time that the date that appear in your CUE is when I start taking account the number of days. If you travel to Spain and you get a visa, from the time that the visa was approved is when I take in account the time for being tax resident. It means if you arrive in Spain in June, but your visa was approved in October, it's something just something for thinking. But normally, I will say that the tax residency is going to start taking account from October because it was the day that you start being a legal resident in Spain. It depends. Normally, if your income is less than 22,000, but that was the only income that you have, maybe you don't have to pay taxes. One of the ways that is better that just verify is that if you log in the tax agency and review that is something that we can do in a quick way, really. But also, if you didn't receive dividends, if you didn't receive rental income, other source of income, and you just have that, you don't have the obligation, at least you don't have the obligation to present taxes normally. It's just in some special case that I prefer to just double check that, and that's it. Okay, if you're in Spain under the Beckham law regime, okay. If you have the Beckham law, you don't have to pay for the wealth tax that you have out of Spain. The only thing that you need to pay, for example, if you just have a property or something in Spain, for that property, maybe you'll have to present wealth tax. And the wealth tax is going to be dependent to the city that you are living. If you are living, for example, in Madrid, you have around 3 millions of exemption. If you have in Valencia, it's 2 millions. If you are living in Catalonia, in any place of Catalonia, maybe if your asset is more than 500,000 of euros, you are going to need to pay the the wealth tax. But under Beckham law, it's just on the assets that you have in Spain. If you have something out of Spain, it's not going to take into account for taxes. Okay. Well, you have two questions. And you work remotely for a company. Okay, I'm gonna open this and I'm gonna, okay, you are living, if I understand, you are living in a company that is in other country of the European Union, and you are being like let's say that you are being remote, like a remote employee. Well, if you are living in Spain, it doesn't matter where you are living, you have to pay taxes in Spain, even if the income is not is not like coming from Spain. The income can be like from other country, let's say just France or Italy or any country of the European Union. You will have to pay taxes in Spain because you are working in Spain and you are receiving that income in Spain. If the economic activity is being developed in Spain, you need to pay taxes in Spain because there is being like developed the money. About the social security is going to be something important there, is that you need to take in account that you're working in Spain but your job is in other country, so the security needs to be paid by your employer in the country, but you need something that is a certificate of coverage for the social security. For that, what is important, that if you want to have your security and healthcare in Spain, you will need that certificate, and then you need to do some process in Spain for having that service there. So the responsible for paying your security is going to be your employer in the other country, but you need to get the A1 model, as there is called in other in some countries, or certificate of coverage, and with that you can just be like a normal employee and you don't need to become an autonomous or something like that. And I mentioned this because sometimes people normally they don't know that if you don't have the certificate of coverage, you need to become a freelancer if you are being employee, because Spain, they are not going to have any type of information that you are working. So if you declare the income, they are going to be asking, okay, but how is that income coming? If you are working, why you are not paying security in Spain? So the way that they are not going to be like asking those questions is if you have the certificate of coverage. Okay. Um. Okay, you have a property, as all properties. Okay, if you're being in Spain the number of days, even if the service, I understand that you are working online, so let's say that you are the brain or you are your business. It doesn't matter if the business is in any country. Normally my clients are from US, so I will say that if even if your client is in US or your business, let's say an LLC or any type of company is in US, for example, and your client are there, but you are working remotely, you are the only owner of the company, the only worker of the company, well, you will have to pay taxes in Spain because the activity is developed there. It doesn't matter if the business is registered in other country. Well, it's not going to be really important for this question, the number of days that you were in Spain or you were out of Spain. The thing that is going to be really important is what you did in Spain. I mean, you were in those days. If you were working, let's think if you have a visa or if you have a legal residence in Spain for working or something like that. So it's going to be really important. In the example that you were just a tourist, and you were just traveling to Spain, just knowing, just with friends, or just doing any type of things that you can imagine. But you were not a legal resident, and you were not like with an ID or something like that. You don't have to pay taxes. But if you were working and you have a NIE, or if you have a TA, or if you have a DNI, something like that, you will maybe, depending to what you were doing, maybe you have to pay taxes. So it's really dependent to the situation. Okay, you're a director of a company and you have been living in Spain for less, right? Taking salary. I have taken money. Well, the important question in this situation is if you are the only worker of this company. Well, not working. If you're, yeah, if you are the only person who is working for this company, if you have a co-owner, for example, or something like that. No, from the beginning, I will say no, but I will have to review your situation in a specific way. Um, because maybe I will have to talk with you about economy center and permanent establishment and some risks that maybe you are less just taking account in the situation. But just taking loans, I will say no, but it really depends. Okay, I don't know if you have other questions. If not, okay, we'll have more. You have a pension. Okay, you have a pension abroad out of Spain, right? And chun, chun, chun. Yes, even the interest that you are receiving from the pension are gonna need to be taxed in Spain. I don't know what type of pensions, and even I would like to know what type of pension you are talking about, if it's from US, a Roth IRA or something like that. But normally, yeah, you have to declare for those in Spain if you're receiving the back. There are some situations that maybe no, depending, but normally if you are receiving that in a that interest and you are receiving in your bank account and it's yours, that money, yeah, you have to declare. There are some type of pensions that normally there is an interest, but that interest is reinvest in the thing that you have, and sometimes you don't have to pay taxes, but it really depends to the type of pension that you have. Okay, if you live and work in Spain, but the company that you invoice is in UK, does got international but models. Well, for if you're in Spain and you have out of the Beckham law, the only model that you have to declare, even if your income is just a basic one or international one, is the model 100. And in that model, they have a different and too much boxes, I will have to say, that and you can declare the income that you're receiving even out of Spain. So yeah, and even that is going to be applying the double taxation. So it's not going to be a problem. You can declare in the same model just one, and it's the model 100. Um, yeah, normally, well, in this question, if your income for dividends or for bank interest or interests are less than 1,000, normally you don't have to declare. I will advise to declare, but if it's a really in a small amount, okay, you don't need to do it, really. Okay, you are an employee and you're at a consultant in Spain, and well, you live here, and you just have, well, services taking place in the Netherlands. Do I declare both here and not in the Netherlands? Well, it depends if you were an official declare registered as a self-employed in Netherlands. Maybe if you register there, yeah, you have to declare there as a non-resident. It really depends on the law of any country, but normally when you develop an economic activity in any country, even just a just a short time, you have to declare there as a non-resident. And in Spain, you need to declare both the income that you have there and the income that you have in Spain, and even apply double taxation benefit, so you don't have to pay twice. Okay, you're on the Beckham law, and it was like a similar question that I was reading. So if you um, you don't have to pay taxes if you are transferring assets, or if, let's say, a bank account or something like that, you don't have to pay taxes on it because it's your money. And even sometime maybe they can ask for any type of proof that you paid taxes for that in the past. in the other country, but you don't have to pay taxes if you are just transferring money or transferring assets or something like that. And it's not gonna be in not it's gonna be taken account in the wealth tax if you like just are far from the limit and it depends on the place that you are living. Okay, your retirement receive Social Security and income from the retirement account. We have lived in Spain since May. Okay, you have bad investments in US. How? Okay, this is gonna be really interesting. See, right. The short answer, you have to pay taxes in Spain. For the social security income that you're receiving and the income from the retirement account, that could be a 401k, a Roth IRA, an IRA, whatever type of retirement account that you have to pay taxes on it in Spain. And even for the investment, but the investment you have to pay if you're receiving or capital gains or dividends or something like that. If you're not receiving income from the investment, like just make sure that you don't have to declare the 720 model and make sure that you don't have to pay wealth tax depending to the city that you are living. And how to pay taxes, really in that case, I will advise to, well, the tax period in US is until normally it's April, and then you can apply an extension until October, but you can first present taxes in US and then present taxes in Spain and apply for the double taxation there. And sometimes it will be good if you review before presenting taxes where you're gonna pay like the highest amount of taxes, and with that we just can just figure out where is better, how is better to do it. We are in a good time for planning. Okay, you are a tax resident, but you are working remotely from a U.S. company, and you pay taxes on the income. Okay, and if you spend 3 months working in U.S. No, if you are in Spain, let's say living 6 months, 7 months, 7 months, or 8 months, 9 months, you need to pay for all the year that all the fiscal year. So if you become tax resident, you pay for all the year and not for the time that you were in Spain, that you were just in Spain. So from all the income from January to December that you receive, it doesn't matter where you receive it, you have to pay in Spain for that tax. Just taking a consultant, it maybe could be the exemption of the 7P. That is say that if you have an income if you have an income for salary being employee out of Spain, maybe you are under this exemption, but this is just for people that they are working for another company different to yours, the company that you are working normally. So just review that in that case. But in the short answer, if you have living in Spain for more than 183 days, you will have to pay taxes for all. Exactly. So if you have just if you are out of the Beckham law, you just need to declare the model 100 if for the income tax. Just talking for other type of taxes, there are different models, but just for the income tax or the tax return, yeah, it's gonna be the model 100. No, and even in your case, if you are autonomous, you cannot apply for being for the Beckham law. The normally the law is allowing people that they are working remotely, that they are working for a company in Spain or out of Spain, and for people that they open a company in Spain or they are being entrepreneurs. But if you are not on those situations, you cannot be autonomous and have the become law at the same time. Okay, Agatha, you are autonomous, working from Spain. Okay, you're a, let's say, tax resident. Okay, in your case, if you live in Spain for more than 183 days, you will have to declare the model 100. And you have the time lamp is going to be between April to June. So now, if you are being autonomous in Spain, you have to be presenting the last quarterly, the annual for being autonomous, And in April is going to start the time for presenting the income tax statement. And you're going to have 3 months for presenting. Uh, okay. Okay, Steve, that's a good question. Normally, if you don't have depending to the type of registration that you have. For example, maybe you don't have the NIE, but you have the empadronamiento. In the legal answer, really, if you just arrive to Spain and you print your passport was like print, they can know. But it's really difficult. The way that it's easy to find out if you have to pay taxes and how the tax agency is gonna know that you have to pay taxes is if you have fiscal data in Spain. If you are been working, if you are freelance, like being self-employed. But if you are not self-employed or something like that, they are not gonna know. It's gonna be really difficult. According to the double convenience the double taxation convenience that we have, they can act to the other country and just make sure. But it is really difficult to just figure out that if you don't have any type of IT in Spain. Okay, and you live in Spain and the digital nomad, do you have to pay taxes? Yes, and something that I also say, and I say that it for me is really like I repeat too much. It's important to say, but yeah, it's really important. If you are in Spain under a digital nomad visa, under a high qualified visa, under a self-employed employee visa, or any type of visa, it doesn't matter what type of visa you have. You are gonna need to declare for all the income that you have, even in Spain or out of Spain. So in this situation, if you have capital gain from, let's say, from Canada, you'll have to pay taxes on that in Spain. But something that could be a good news for you is that the in Spain there are two bases for taxes: the general base and the saving base. The general base is the higher one. You can some people also say that you pay too much taxes in Spain because normally we talk about the general base. The general base is between 19% to even 50%. But if you're receiving bank interests or capital gains or something like that, that is like a passive income, you have the saving base. And this base tax all the income that you receive in a passive way, but under less taxes, maybe between 19% to even 30%. So that is important. Okay, if you I will say no, you don't have to declare, but it's like okay, you earn and you also you have a loss, so you don't have to pay taxes. Another question. So, Catherine, if the wealth tax, no, the wealth tax is a different form. Is the form 714, and for yeah 714, that is going to be the model that you have to present the wealth tax, a different tax. And it's really important to understand the the model 100 is for something that you declare for all, I mean for Spain, in a regional way, in the autonomic way, state way and regional way. But the wealth tax is just for the region that you are living. And Christine, just registered as self. Okay, when do we like file? It's not gonna be this year. So first, if you register as a self-employed this year, I will think that you moved to Spain recently, and it was not that you were moving in May or something like that. But if you moved really recently and you register in November, you don't have to pay taxes for the your worldwide income until 2020. If you live all this year in Spain until 2027, it's gonna be the first time that you present taxes. But for the last year, no. Okay, I'm gonna be ready. Okay, you receive a permanent residency where you work online, self-employed. What tax season will um well, if you are being self-employed in Spain, you're gonna pay the normal tax. So you're gonna be under the model 100, and you just now, if you're being self-employed, registered in Spain, just paying the quarterly taxes in the model on 100 that I was talking about. You don't need to have other type of things or a specific type of things in your situation. Okay, you have an LLV, but only okay. In your case, Rick, you just have 100 less than the number of days, so you are not considered tax resident. In your case, you will have to present taxes in the last country that you will live in. Okay, I just a quick reminder, if you have other, or if you have a specific situation or a specific question, you just can schedule a meeting with me. I'm gonna be really attentive to you, knowing your situation, talking with you, and just helping you with just to answer all your questions, right? And continue with Gail. So you got your residency in September, but on register is from okay. Okay, I found the same. You get your, let's say, your residency in September, but you register as self-employed in December. So in at this moment, you have to declare in this month just for the income that you receive from December, from the time that you register as a self-employed, really. And this year, you just need to present the quarterly taxes, and the next year, you will have to pay just the income tax statement as a legal resident. But now, no. Okay. In your case, Natalia, if you need to show the real estate that in their country, if this who is estimating this value or what is. Well, I would have to say that it depends where you are living in Spain. For example, if you are living in the Basque Country, the value of the property is going to be taken account on the acquisition value, and it's just taken account the 50% of the acquisition value. There are other communities that is going to be taken the acquisition value or the sale or the value that maybe if you the market value or things like that. So it really depends where you are living and where is the property also. Okay, Danny, as an autonomous, if you have to pay taxes of a few 3 years per month, it's automatic. If you have, okay. For being autonomous, even if you are just €1, you have to declare it. And it's just like the obligation that you have. It doesn't mean that you have to pay taxes. Normally, if you earn like 300 of euros per month, maybe at the end of the year the tax agency is just going to give you back more or something like that. But yes, you have to declare and just to inform what was the yearly income that you have. Okay, James, if you are not tax resident but you have your TA under the golden visa, and wait, so you have the TA under not the golden visa, but you also have the tax residency in UK and USA less than. Okay, you have the. My question is where you are living. Um, if you well, if you have the TIE card that you have now, but you live in Spain less of the number of days that I mentioned, the 183 days, you don't need to declare taxes. The only well, in that case, as you have to do it as a non-resident for the property that you have. If you receive rental income or something, or just you have the property there and just live the rest of the year, you will have to pay taxes on it. Okay, Manon, Okay, we have different like the different services that we can help you. So yeah, normally in all the things that you can imagine about immigration, taxes, accountancy, different type of process, labor, we can help you with that. So you just can send us an email or just schedule a meeting with me or something. I can just review your situation and I can talk with you about our costs and all the things. There's another one. Okay, Christine, if you have been your residency from January, okay, okay, if you have been issued your residency in when exactly is gonna be? Um, I will have to review that in a detailed way, maybe. If you can just send me a schedule or send me an email, I will be attentive to answer that. Now, I will have to say that our time is being over. So thank you for all the people that they just are here now with all the questions they are reading. They are like being attentive with us. I'm gonna be really attentive to just answer all the rest of questions that we have. We have the QR here, so you can like schedule a meeting with us, with me, or with one of our team. And thank you for all of you for being here and for being attentive to us. It was really a pleasure.